Welcome from the IIBA Tampa Bay, Florida chapter study group. This is February 16th of 2023. This is our 65th class. Today we're going to go over the requirements, analysis and design definition chapter from the BABOK. This is chapter 7. Let me share my screen. Our goal here, our mission is to bridge the gap between industry leaders and business analysts by building partnerships with professionals, educators, and employers so that we may empower, instruct, and engage the BA community. We do have a worldwide audience here. Even though we are based out of Tampa Bay, Florida, we have people participating in our study groups from all around the world, and your contribution to our conversations is extremely valuable to us. So please do participate. You can reach us in a variety of ways. Right now, you're at the study group. This is Thursday night between 7 and 8 p.m. Eastern time in the United States. You can see our past meeting recordings. As I said, this is our 65th class. So for any of those that we did not have technical difficulty, which is a majority, that we did not have technical difficulty, you can reach here at this website. Cliff will post in the notes in the chat. You can also reach us in a variety of other ways. We do have an IIBA site. We have 2 meetups, Zoom, Facebook, and LinkedIn. As I said earlier, this is our 65th class. We started originally with an introduction, and then we started going over study test questions, practice test questions. One chapter would last us 2 weeks, and we worked our way through the entire book. Class number 8 was how to apply for the test, which was very informative. It talks about what your prerequisites are, what information you need to provide to the IIBA in your application, the best way to apply, what you need to expect whenever you get to the to take the test. In classes 44 through 52, we stopped doing the test questions and went to the professional series. This was a series of who will you be working with as a BA. And it was very informative because it allowed us to find out what their perspective of their jobs were, what we need from them, and what they need from us as business analysts. Today, we're going to go over the requirements analysis and design definition chapter of the BABOK. If you want to, you can look at our past meetings. The last 2 meetings, 63 and 64, we haven't gone over test questions as much as we've actually gone over the chapter, the first 2 in chapter 6 and this one, and the last 2 in chapter 6 and this one. The reason for that is chapter 6 is extremely tough, and so we wanted to go more in deep. If you want to, Watermark Learning is an education provider and who is providing our test questions, and they have given us a discount code. It's Tampa space 21. It will give you 20% off of any of the products that they have. We are a volunteer-led organization. Cliff is our president. Lori's our vice president. We have board members at large. My name is Thea Soren. I'm the vice president of career and professional development. It is my job to help provide the education, knowledge, and assistance that you need. So please reach out to me through LinkedIn. I dropped my LinkedIn link in the chat for you. We do need new board members if you're interested in providing your information or expertise, or if you want to learn a new skill. Let us know and we'll put you into a slot that fits your time and your skills, and we will see what we can do to make the world a better place. The IIBA study group is required to have people that have passed the CBAP certification. The people that we have on board tonight are Bob Churchill. He has a CBAP certification as well as a variety of other certifications. He also has an awesome website. I do encourage you to go check it out. It has a lot of really good information, not just for business analysis, but for other fields that are auxiliary to business analysis that a BA is really beneficial to know. If you want to reach Bob directly, you can reach him here at his web address. Yulia is normally here with us, but she has an additional class for her, what is it, her master's? It's a graduate studies program that she has to attend tonight. But interestingly enough, Yulia has also been a student of ours and passed her CBAP certification 9-2. Tish also was a student of ours. She passed her ECBA on 8/17 of last year. ECBA, as you know, is the entry level of certification for business analysis. The CBAP is the Certified Business Analyst Professional. It requires 5 years of experience. Okay, let's switch over to the study questions. Let me pull this out of the way. As I said, we use watermark learning, watermark exams. Tonight, we're going to go over requirements analysis and design definition test questions, and I'm going to begin the exam. Now, it's my job to read the question and the answers. It's your job to tell me what you think the correct answer is. If there's an answer on here that is absolutely not correct, I need you to tell me that one. And I want you to tell me why you think it's correct or incorrect. The conversation that we have is what really contributes to us learning from each other. So question number 1, Haylin is ensuring that the requirements and designs have been defined correctly and provide the necessary information for further work that will be performed. What task is Haylin doing? Is he doing perform quality assurance, maintaining requirements, verifying requirements, or validating requirements?
I'm going to vote for C, because verify requirements is checking to see if it's been defined correctly. It doesn't say checking to see if it meets the business need, which is validate requirements. Other people's opinion?
That's very good. What does anybody else think?
I go with C as well.
I go with C as well.
Okay, I've got more than 2 votes for C. Let's check. And it is correct according to BABOK 722. Let's go to number 2. Julian is working on a project to create a new subscription management system for Nordost magazines. The team has developed the data and navigation to handle the various entities and states in the diagram below. The application can accept new and trial subscriptions, process payments, and inactivate subscriptions. During the current iteration effort, Julian is sensing the team is missing some key requirements. So what we have to do is we're going to look at this very complex thing, and then we'll go down to the question. Let me go down to the bottom. Which state is Julian missing the models for this situation? The former subscription.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you maximize your screen
I can.
or your browser, I should say? Thank you.
I will continue to maximize. I'm at 150.
No, that's good. It just wasn't covering the screen. That's all.
Okay.
That's good.
Actually, zoom out more.
Zoom out more. Okay.
Yep.
I can do that. Okay. These are the which state. So which state? Let's look at this and then we'll go up and look at it. The former subscription, which is implied in the diagram. Cancel subscription, which is a valid state for any subscription. Rejected subscription because a payment is not being approved, or suspended subscription when a payment is not approved. So let's look at the different states. Let me scroll up. So we have, beginning here, we've got pending subscription, active subscription. We have trial subscription, active subscription. We have trial subscription or pending, going to active, and then going to inactive subscription.
Can we scroll down to the questions, the options?
Yes. Here are the options.
So I think C, rejected subscription, because there's nothing mentioned about if the payment is not approved.
I agree. Let's check this bottom section. We've got product type, subscription, and individual payment. So is there rejected in here of types of subscriptions? I think you're right. Do I have a second vote on rejected subscription?
I agree with that as well. I think what's interesting though is like former subscription, I don't see that mentioned in the state diagram, but I
It is-
think
it's
rejected
implied.
this. It's implied. Got it.
Implied.
Okay, yeah, I agree with C. Anybody else?
Well, goodness, guys, I'm sorry, it jumped out of it. Let me go back in. And it's going to give us a total new question. So let's start over. I think you were right, incidentally. How is the solution core concept in the business analyst core concept model applied in the requirements analysis and design definition knowledge area? So requirements analysis and knowledge and design definition is the knowledge area, which is the chapter in the BABOK. And the core concept in the business analyst core concept model is a diagram that has things that are applicable in each of the chapters. The circumstances that influence and provide understanding of the change that are considered when determining the solution performance measures. The performance of the solution is examined and assessed to see if it is delivering the potential value. Potential value on the solution options are analyzed and quantified, or D, potential solution options are defined and one that is most likely to address the need and has the most value is recommended.
I'm going to eliminate B because I think that's chapter 8, because the performance of a solution, evaluating the performance of a solution is not part of this knowledge
Chapter
area.
7. That's a good point. Okay, A, C, or D?
That may not help you on the actual exam though. So
That's true.
it helps you now because you know what chapter you're in. But
Oh, I see. Yes.
they could ask anything. You're
On the actual
probably
exam, they're mixed
right.
up.
Well, it
But
does.
right now,
It does say requirements analysis and design definition knowledge area. So in the
That's true.
question, so that's why I eliminated it
So
because
it
of B.
does. You're
Yep.
the
Good point.
man.
But I think it is D because we have defined the design options here. No. Yeah. So we have defined the design option, and then the last task is, recommending which option to take. So I actually go with D, in fact.
Yeah,
That's
I
a good
agree.
point. Okay, I've got 2 votes. Let's try it. It is correct. Good job,
Yay.
guys. Okay, you're reviewing the requirements with your sponsor and customer. While examining the requirements, they note some minor quality problems you need to fix. What task have you just completed? Are you verifying requirements, performing quality assurance, performing quality control, or validating requirements?
Validating requirements.
That's
got
what
one
I was
vote.
gonna say. I was going to say that as well.
Okay.
I'll
I
say
think what's
verify.
interesting though is it says some minor quality problems. That's kind of general. It doesn't say, I mean, verify requirements is figuring out if the requirement is meets these basic standards of, do I understand it? Is it well documented? Does it meet the and validate means, does it meet the business need? What in here tells us that we're looking at a problem with a requirement describing a business need?
So you're asking the right question, I think. I mean, I could be wrong. I think it's not the best worded question, but I think maybe they're trying to get at verify here.
It may
That's-
also be a clue. We're doing this with the sponsor and the customer.
Mhm.
I don't know. Would we be including the customer in verify requirements? Or
Sure.
would we? Oh, okay.
Depends on the product.
With all of the loops and
Oh,
all of
yes.
the phase,
Actually,
you're
it's all
always
stakeholders.
doing D&D in every phase.
Mhm.
And you always want to include the customer.
Okay, so do we want to try verify requirements for this one?
Yeah, I two A's.
Okay, let's check it. If it's wrong, we always learn. Verify ensures requirements and design specifications meet quality standards. Okay. The project.
So the key in that one was quality.
It was.
Okay.
The project team is currently working on validating requirements. The following are the names of the stakeholders on the team. I'm not going to read all those to y'all. Which stakeholders have primary responsibility for ensuring the requirements are valid? Okay, now you got to go through them. The business analyst is this one and this one. Jeremy is the customer. Cheryl is the SME. And Jean is the end user.
The implementation SME, by the way, not necessarily the process or business SME, they're different.
Right. So let's see, George is the project manager. Does George work on validating requirements? Does the project manager work on validating requirements?
I guess it's all stakeholders for validating requirements.
This is primary responsible for ensuring the requirements are valid.
I'm going to say project manager does not validate requirements because they're not the recipient of those requirements, nor are they the supplier of the requirements.
Okay, if that's
could
true.
we eliminate B and D?
Okay, and who is Juliet? Juliet is an end user. I would say end users are definitely in part of validating requirements, wouldn't y'all?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think sponsor is not ensuring requirements. So I go with A.
You like A over C?
A.
Now, just to throw something in there, I like the idea that Jean and Juliet may be in there, but the implementations really ought to be part of it also, don't you think? Or you could argue either way.
I tell you what, for time's sake, implementation SME is in here. Let's check the answer and see what the answer is. Okay, correct answer. The business analyst in conjunction with the customer, end users, and sponsor as the primary responsible for determining whether or not the requirements are validated. So business analyst, customer, end users, and sponsors. According to the BABOK. In the real world, I wouldn't necessarily do it this way, guys, but to pass the test, you got to know what the BABOK says.
That's what
This is kind of a mean question because I keep mapping names and I'm like, what does Jewel do? What does Gleason do? You know?
It is a mean question.
It throws in this other layer of complexity that has nothing to do with the BABOK.
Nothing at all.
Was it C then?
It was
C.
C. Yes.
So the determinant was the sponsor is one of those people.
No to the implementation person, yes to the end user.
Right. Okay, moving forward. What is the purpose of item tracking when verifying requirements? Ensuring the problems identified are reported to the help desk, ensuring that problems and issues identified during verification are managed and resolved, ensuring that problems or issues identified during verification are escalated to the project manager to track resolution, or ensure that appropriate checklists are used to resolve the issues or problems by the planned date. According to the BABOK, what is the purpose?
Appropriate checklist.
It's B. Ensure that problems and issues identified during verification are managed and resolved. We don't, A is not the option because we don't report those issues to the help desk. C is not the option because we don't escalate. And D is not the option because we are not using checklists there. So that's why.
Love your reasoning. Do we have a second vote?
Yes,
Okay,
because of our reasoning.
very good.
Yay.
Renew, I want you to join us every single class. That was perfect analysis. Okay, atomic is a characteristic of requirements and design quality. What does atomic mean? It contains no extraneous or unnecessary content. It is at the level that will guide further work. It is self-contained and capable of being understood independently of other requirements for designs, or it is small, atom-like.
I'm going to say C, because
Yeah.
self-contained.
Okay, I've got one vote. Can I have a second vote?
Yeah,
It's self-contained and capable of being
Yeah.
understood.
This is like I'm hearing echoes of the BABOK's voice in my head whenever I read this. Early identification and involvement of people, groups, or organizations that may impact or may be impacted by a project is critical for the project's success. Business analysts may choose to perform this task themselves and then separately package and communicate the requirements to the impacted or impacting people for review. Which task is this?
Identification.
I feel like the first sentence has nothing to do with the question.
I suppose it is C, specifying and modeling requirements, because we don't, because there's one, it cannot be B, because in the all tasks is very, generic. Early identification and involvement doesn't not happen in all the tasks. It happens in some tasks. So we eliminate B. And defining requirement architecture. So that is very specific thing and doesn't happen in early, that's not again early identification. And defining design options is also a lateral activity after we have something, well, we have done some requirement architecture, we have some options to go ahead. So
Good reasoning. Do I have a second vote?
I think that's as good a reasoning as can be done with this question. It's kind of goofy.
Well, that first sentence is throwing us off. Yes, perfect. And
Yay.
it's straight out of the BABOK. Good job. Number 7, the lead business analyst planned an event to analyze the potential value for each design option and recommend a solution. What inputs will be needed to accomplish this task? So what are the inputs to the task? Analyze the potential value. So is it potential value, risk analysis results, design options, potential value, design options, risk analysis results, design options, or potential value, business objectives, and design options? So design options is in all 3 of them. Is potential value one that needs to be included? If so, we can eliminate C.
I think potential value is important, but I'm thinking it's D, but
Why do you like D?
you need to know that your design options are going to meet your business objectives, and you need to be able to discern the potential value of each design option, because you're recommending a design option and you need to be able to explain why one design option has more value than another. But please argue against me, because I'm like, risk is also a piece of this, right?
Yeah, because I think business objectives have already been considered for potential value. So D, I won't go with D, but I have a conflict between A and B. Potential value and design option is definitely there, but what about risk analysis, research?
Yeah, I think A includes that risk analysis, and if I remember correctly, you have to take risks into consideration.
Okay, let's check it. The correct answer is not risk analysis. But
For the record, I think Jim is right.
But it's where you take those risks into consideration. Maybe it's earlier on when you do that.
Or maybe it's already folded into potential value.
Right,
So
right.
that's kind of a cop out.
In the
Or
real
maybe-
world,
Sorry, risk analysis result could be a guideline. We'll have to check. So
Yeah, I bet it is.
okay, so check BABOK 763 for that.
763.
Okay, we'll move forward. A business analyst makes sure the requirements and design models have met the necessary standard of quality for the project. What is the intention? Yes, yes, Bob.
Just on the last thing, here's what's goofy about it. The formal inputs are potential value and design options. Risk analysis results is a
Guideline and tool.
1 of 5.
So when we say what inputs,
Question is splitting hairs way too closely.
it's true. So when it says what inputs, it means the literal listed inputs the BABOK identifies, not anything else. It's very specific as to guidelines, inputs, techniques, tools. It wants you to know what they are by their titles. Okay, next one. Business analysts make sure the requirements and design models have met the necessary standard of quality for the project. What is the intention of the business analyst in performing this task? To validate the requirements, to specify and model the requirements, to ensure they meet regulatory compliance, or to verify the requirements?
To verify the requirements, because we're talking
yeah,
about
it's
quality.
straightforward. Yeah.
Okay, let's check it. Very good. And does this echo in your mind now? The purpose of verify requirements is to ensure the requirements and design specifications and model meet quality standards and are usable for the purpose they serve.
Question, what's the difference
Yes.
between verifying the requirements and validating the requirements?
Jim, can you answer that for us?
Sure. So validating requirements looks backward. It looks at the original business needs to make sure that the requirements that are written express those business needs. Verifying with an E points forward, and it's verifying the quality of the actual requirement itself. So what you do when you're verifying is you're checking to see if the requirement itself is well written, essentially, and expressed in a way that meets the quality standards, such as atomic. What are all those qualities of a requirement?
Unambiguous, atomic, complete.
Right. Yes. So that's verified, but validate says, does the requirement express the need properly, the business need? The business
Can I have a
I
follow-up
would say
question?
one thing, validate and verify are general terms that apply to code and requirements and everything else. So what they are is validate it, or verify is, did you do it right in terms of quality, or for code, does it work the way you intended? Validate is, does it answer the right question? Does it meet the business need? Does it solve the problem you intend to solve? That's the general rule.
Okay, very good.
Can I add on to it? Sorry.
Yes, Renu, go ahead.
Validation, I think it is, I agree with Jim to some extent that it is validating the business need, but business need is already taken care of in business objectives. So shouldn't it be more aligned to goals and objectives?
Well, let me say that so our goal
Validation,
here, our goal here is to get you to understand what the BABOK how the BABOK wants you to answer these questions. What you do in the real world is not necessarily what the BABOK says sometimes. Sometimes the BABOK is a little bit outdated or doesn't say it very well. So in the real world, you're going to be checking your requirements constantly to be sure they fit all the needs and that they are something you can exercise against whenever you go to quality assurance, that it's going to meet all your needs.
So how do we validate, I guess, the requirement, what's in the BABOK versus what's in the real world? Oh, so how do we reconcile the BABOK versus the real world? Because it seems like we're just taking the test, for just taking the test's sake. And then we have to now know something different
Again,
to be able to do the job
let's
function.
think just for requirements. So verify is, did I write it correctly? Validate is, does it address the need? So validate is always, does it solve the problem? So verify is about quality, and validation is about applicability.
Okay. To get more information, go to 721 and the BABOK goes more deeply into it. For time purposes, I'm going to put this on.
Any kind of articles online, Wikipedia, and elsewhere about verification versus validation, anywhere in general, and it'll really hammer this into your soul.
Okay. Which of
Yeah,
the,
so just to read from I was looking for this definition on validate. I think this answers it. Ensure that a set of requirements or designs delivers business value and supports the organization's goals and objectives. That's on page, it's the second page of chapter 7 under figure 7.0.1, where they introduce these concepts. So that'll tell you the difference between verify and validate there.
okay, very good. Question 9, we are halfway through our meeting. Which of the following least describes why an activity diagram may be utilized? An activity diagram can elaborate on a single use case. An activity diagram is effective at showing how to handle a large number of scenarios and parallel branches. An activity diagram utilizes business process model and notification, BPMN, so it can distinguish the activities of different participants in a process with either pools or swim lanes. Or D, an activity diagram facilitates the identification of potential improvements by highlighting pain points in the process structure. Which one is the least? This least describes why it may be used.
I would say D.
D is
Because to identify the pain process and pain points in process, we would use process flow diagrams.
Yes, I agree with you.
I agree as well. And the reason that I could see the others being useful for it.
Oops.
Oh, utilizes BPMN, so it.
Our problem is we were looking at the reason instead of what they use. BPMN versus UML. An activity diagram uses UML.
UML covers the problem from every angle, though. That's its point, is it's an organized way to make you be thorough and consider the problem from every angle. I think that this is probably technically correct. It's also a goofy question. I know I say that a lot, but it is.
Well, you're right a lot. Which of the following data models is typically used by implementation subject matter experts to describe how a database is physically organized? Now, this is implementation subject matter experts. They use a logical data model, conceptual data model, physical data model, or multivariable data model.
I'm gonna say physical data model. That almost seems too obvious.
Yeah, it looks straightforward. Yeah.
Find
It
out.
says how it's physically organized.
Awesome. On a project, a business analyst makes sure that the requirement models have met the necessary standards of quality so they can be used effectively to guide further work. What has the business analyst been doing? Are they verifying the requirement? Have we already done this one?
That was the one where we
Time.
accidentally left off and went
Oh,
back.
well then we're
So
back
we're getting it
here.
again, I think.
Yay. Okay, verifying the requirement, specifying and modeling the requirement, documenting a transition requirement, or validating the requirement.
It's verifying the requirement.
Got a second vote?
Verifying, yep, because we're back to quality, standard of quality.
Yes, look at
Yay.
us, we're learning.
We're getting that one.
What is the purpose of estimation in determining the potential value for each design option? To forecast and estimate each stakeholder's value in the project, to create and estimate the measurements used in defining value, to be able to provide some figures to the executives, to forecast the cost and efforts of meeting the requirements. We're estimation in determining the potential value for each design option.
I'll go with D because in A, we don't forecast and estimate. A is out because we are not estimating stakeholders' value.
Right?
And C is also out because we have to find out the potential value of each design option. It's not, we are doing not for executives, just executives. And B, to create an estimation. So this doesn't look right for some reason. So I have
D
my
is
statement
kind of the meta. It's the measuring stick. You're gonna use it's the unit. D is actually the number of units, the actual values you measure in.
Okay.
Measurements, yeah, because the measurements come into play when you're talking about knowledge area 8, when you're evaluating a solution, I think, where you have to determine what are the measurements of a system and how it's performing. I think B is wrong because it seems to be conflating things. I would go with D as well.
Okay, let's find out the answer. Very good. So BABOK 766 and technique 1019. XYZ is a new organization that uses agile methodology. The organization is looking for the best solution for the project team collaboration and artifact storage. Marcus has been hired as a business analyst and is tasked with carrying out the analysis between the Confluence site versus the SharePoint site. Which of the following is best suited to his needs? Of all that question, all you need to know is he's doing an analysis between two systems. And so following best suited to his needs, notations, models, state diagrams, or a matrix. How is he going to do the best comparison?
I would say matrix option. B.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's find out. Very good.
Yay.
He used to compare features of both Confluence and SharePoint sites to determine which site would best meet the project team collaboration and storage needs of the organization.
Makes sense.
Next, which of the following subset best describes the characteristics of requirements and designs quality? Atomic, testable, consistent, defined, complete, understandable. Testable, verified, unambiguous, concise, prioritized. Unambiguous, complete, feasible, standardized, testable, or atomic, testable, consistent, feasible, complete, and understandable. Are there any of those we can eliminate?
I think the first two.
Why?
So the first one has the word defined, and I don't think that's part of it.
Okay.
The second one, oh, wait
Yeah,
a minute.
verified is not part of the design.
Verified, yeah, that
quality.
was the one that I thought it was eliminating.
Okay,
Yep,
so we
verified
think it's
isn't one.
C or D.
And standardized, I don't think that's again a
Yeah,
part
that's
of
not
this.
one. Mm-mm.
Yeah, so maybe D.
Is atomic one?
D.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This this is one of the only two that has a
There are like-
topic in it, and we've eliminated the other one. So let's try it.
Oh, yeah, that's a good reasoning. Yeah, thanks, Priya.
There's an acronym we can use to remember this. It's FAC CUP CUT. FAC CUT. Oh, FAC CUP CUT. FAC CUP CUT. And I always get the C's mixed up. I always can
Me
remember
too.
two, but the third one I can't. Consistent, complete. What's the other one?
Concise.
There's only two.
Concise.
Concise. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, I get them mixed up too.
And that's in Watermark study guide,
Mhm.
right, Jim?
Yep.
Very good.
There's only two according to that list. Two.
Yes, according
This is doing a
to
subset of like the
This-
9
this is
that are
not the
in the
complete.
acronym. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what makes it even more difficult because they leave out like 3 or several. Yeah,
I have
3 of
to
them.
turn my words into stories because I can't get them if I try to do acronyms. They float around in my head. Which techniques are used to validate requirements? Metrics and key performance indicators, financial analysis, business capability analysis, acceptance and evaluation criteria, item tracking and reviews, acceptance and evaluation criteria, metrics and key performance indicators, workshops, or acceptance and evaluation criteria, financial analysis and workshops.
What
I'm
if you
gonna
see?
say I'm leaning towards C because, and the reason I'm not leaning toward B is because it's got item tracking in it. And item tracking is talking about issues with the requirements. And by the time you're validating the requirements, you
Mhm.
should be at the point where you're actually checking to see if, again, the requirement meets the value that is supposed to be applied. And the thing in C talks about not only acceptance and valuation criteria, but also metrics and key performance indicators, which are indicators of value. Other people have other, go ahead, Renu, you may have a different.
Yeah, I am sorry, G, but I think item tracking is not just for tracking the requirement issues with the requirements. It's a tracking at every stage. We have something or the other that we are tracking.
Yeah.
So even when we are validating the requirements, we may have some disagreements or some things that we have to still go ahead and check upon. There could be some
Right.
issues there.
Good point.
Metrics.
So I may go for B actually, because A is out of question. We don't do financial analysis.
Mhm.
And C is also close enough. So I'm more inclined towards B, I think so.
Let's try it and see what we get. We have the right answer because
Ah.
we work together. Look at us.
Yay.
Which of the following requirements does not meet the characteristics of a quality requirement? The system shall read the tracking database and feed the bond pieces to the web database using XML. Bond prices, prices, not pieces. Bond prices will be viewable and sortable by maturity date, length of security, yield, and rating. The system shall display bond prices using 3 decimal place instead of fractions. The system shall provide a maintenance function for correcting any missing data. Not meet the characteristics of quality requirement, which means 3 of them do and 1 of them does not. Is there one that's not specific enough?
Or maybe it's too specific, like A.
Yeah, like system.
It's too specific, like we are mentioning the web database using XML. We are kind of putting a restriction on the requirement. So
I don't know. I don't think D is specific enough.
Bond prices will be viewable.
I guess it's D, does not provide all the necessary details that you would need. Option D.
Yeah, I think the reason option B is not one, the second one down, is because it doesn't define maturity date, length of security, yield, and rating. So it's not atomic, but I could be wrong.
No, I think you are wrong because if you know that subject matter area, those are all defined things and well understood.
Ah, okay. Yeah, yeah. And so it's fairly well contained. It might be the answer.
I like the
D is in dog.
Yep.
Okay, in the interest of time, I'm going to check the answer. Okay, A is poorly written requirement because it names technologies and constraints in the solution design. Oh, who is it that said XML shouldn't be listed?
Can't be listed. Maybe I said.
Oh, awesome. Okay, you got to come to every class. Seriously. The number of occurrences of one entity in a data model that are linked to the second entity are called what? Are they associations, numeralities, cardinalities, or attributes?
I'll go with C, cardinalities. A, association is not right because association is when you're using the class model. So data models has cardinalities.
Okay, do I have a second vote?
Yep.
Okay. And you're correct. Cardinality refers to the minimum and maximum number of occurrences in which an entity may be related. Whenever one of y'all says something and I see Bob's forehead go, wow, I know we're doing good. Okay, this model represents a sequence of actions, events, or a course which may be taken. Which requirement model category is represented by the above statement? Is it a rationale, people and roles, entity relationships, or activity flow? Here's our clue.
Of actions.
I'll go with D.
Why do you like D?
Rationale is just one part of what we have mentioned, sequence of actions, events, and course that is taken. So people and roles is just one part. Entity relationship is like activity flow has everything. It has a sequence. There is
There's a sequence of actions is the part of that.
Sequence of actions. Right. Creating activity flow diagrams in swim lanes is my favorite activity because it makes everything so visible. Everyone gets on the same page. Which of the following is not a verification activity? Remember what we said verification was: identify and verify assumptions, checking for completeness within each model, checking for compliance with organizational performance standards for business analysis, or checking for correct use of modeling notation, templates, or forms.
I think A is not. Identifying and verifying assumptions is not, the verification activity is really about requirements, isn't it?
It's validation activity. It's a validation activity. I think identifying and verifying assumptions. It's at the time of validation. So
okay,
that does look right.
Let's try it. All right. This is a fabricated answer. Assumptions are identified and defined in order to manage any associated risk. Let me challenge you to look for assumptions in every single conversation and document and everything else. The thing with assumptions is people don't say it. They don't even think to say it. They just know it so deeply. It's just not something they talk about. It's our job to pull it out of them. Yes, Bob.
Assumptions have another way to think about them, and that is stuff that you don't know. You have to fill in holes of things you either don't know, can't measure, or have to assume. So they're kind of in a class with simplification. So that I always think about that early in the process, but in reality, it comes up in every phase. So it's
Yes.
a general thing to be aware of.
Let me tell y'all a 1-minute story. I was at a company that I found 3 different departments had processes for warranties. And they all had different processes. And I said, why aren't y'all using the same process for warranties? I got them in a room, and within the first 15 minutes, I discovered they meant totally different things by the word warranties. And I mean, totally different things. There's no way they could use the same process. But I made the assumption, and we all made the assumption, we're using the same word. It has to mean the same thing. We disbanded that meeting. In many cases, stakeholders had different conflicting needs and expectations. How would a business analyst help expose these differences and ensure their needs are met? Through item tracking, through validation, through specifying and modeling their requirements, or through collaboration?
Yeah, I agree. D looks collaboration because we have to resolve the differences.
Gotta have
But
the
it's
conversation.
also about exposing, yeah.
To specify and modeling. the requirements.
Let's find out.
Validation.
Validation occurs whenever you get the requirements in front of everyone so you can all have the conversation.
Yeah, I think the key here is exposing the differences as opposed to resolving the differences. D would be correct if they had said maybe resolving the differences between stakeholders. And
Right.
B is about exposing those differences.
Yeah, that's right, right.
So we learned something. Good for us.
Yeah.
Once the requirements are verified, what tasks might a business analyst perform, provided that other inputs required by the task are also available? Validate requirements, approve requirements, define design options, or identify improvement opportunities.
Don't you have to verify requirements before you validate them? You have to make sure they're solid requirements before you actually check to see if they meet business needs.
Okay, so you're saying that A would be the answer?
That's my guess.
Okay.
Yeah, because verification and validation, they both need the same inputs. So if the input is available for verification, we have them for validation as well.
Really? I love it.
Incorrect. Oh.
But your logic was impeccable.
Requirements.
See, that's wrong. That's flat out wrong because you cannot approve requirements until they're both verified and validated.
Yeah.
Okay, I flagged it. Hopefully flagging it does something more than just making us feel better. Rebecca,
That doesn't hurt either.
If you read your answer, go back. If you
Okay.
read your answer, they say that. No, they don't. That's just wrong. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, going forward, if we can get finished, we can see our percentage. Rebecca is structuring the requirements to ensure all requirements for a single whole that supports the overall business objectives and produce meaningful outcomes for the stakeholder. Which of the following would not be a consideration for Rebecca? Completeness, template architectures, requirements allocation, requirements viewpoints, and views. Is requirements viewpoint and views even a thing?
Never heard of that before.
Viewpoints and views are a thing.
Are they?
Requirement, it is
Where?
requirement.
In the BABOK?
viewpoints. Yeah.
Viewpoints and views are a thing
Now I remember.
because
Requirements architecture.
I remember them now.
Okay,
I think C is not the part of it. Allocation happens when we are defining the design options.
okay. Can I have a second vote? For or against?
Yeah, all other 3 are part of requirement architecture, where we are looking for the cohesiveness of the requirements.
I
They are
agree.
complete.
Okay, let's check this answer. All right. Requirements allocation is the process of assigning requirements to a solution components and releases to best achieve the objectives and is considered in defined design options, not whatever this was up here.
Way to go, Renu.
I'm dancing.
I think you should. We would play music if we could. You have interviewed key stakeholders to uncover their business needs. You become aware of many factors that the stakeholders think are true, but which have not been verified. You decide to document which of the following: constraints, requirements, assumptions, or to be processed.
Assumptions.
Yeah.
The factors the stakeholders think are true, but which have not been verified. So, okay, let's check out. Assumptions are factors that are believed to be true, but have not been confirmed to be accurate, or could be true, but may not be in the future. Which of the following is not an improvement opportunity when defining design options? Improve access to information, increase consistency of behavior, eliminate redundancy, or improve access to stakeholders.
Improve access to stakeholder is not, doesn't help in solution improvement.
Mhm.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's check it. Very good. Which of the following is not true about business rules? Business rules are exclusively expressed and managed through implementation technology for a given solution. Business rules guide operational business decision-making. Business rules shape day-to-day business behavior, or business rule changes can be implemented quickly if they are managed by a single enterprise-wide engine. Which of these is not true?
I'm going to say A. Business rules are exclusively expressed and managed through implementation technology for a given solution. There are many steps that are taken outside of information technology, manual handoffs, other kinds of things in a quote unquote bigger solution. That's my opinion.
I like your opinion. Do I have a second vote?
Yeah, I think A sounds the option.
Let's find out. Oh, awesome. Business rules should be expressed and managed independently of implementation technology. Very good. Let us submit our exam and view the results. Guys, we have done fantastic. Considering that not everyone actually studied Chapter 7, and some of us did study Chapter 7, we're doing really well. We're going to go over it one more time next week. Let's see if we can beat this score by, let's say 10%. But that means that if you didn't study this time, please study for next time. And this is not one of the harder chapters. Just read through it. Renew, if you have study materials that you have created, please contribute them. And Jim, I watched the video of last week whenever I was sick. I want your spreadsheet, man. It is good
Okay,
work.
yeah, I sent it to Cliff, and so I'm happy to put it out there with the understanding that these are my notes, and I would love other people to beat them up and help me make it better. It includes some watermark exercises in it, but it also includes just a lot of mapping and analysis of how
Yeah,
things
Thea, I put it out under the share drive.
Okay.
And I
Very
put
good.
Jim's name on it, so, not only does he gets credit, but, we can keep track of it that way too.
Okay, so if anyone is studying it and you actually verify it against the BABOK, please make the notation in the far right column that's the first column that's not being used, that has been verified against the BABOK. And that way we can go through and find out and be sure that it's verified against the BABOK whenever we finish. Cynthia, you have your hand up? You're off mute, but we can't hear you.
What did you mean by that last statement? Where were we supposed to do that in the last column?
Oh, if Jim created a spreadsheet that has.
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, so what we want to do is we want to verify it against the BABOK. So if you go to the BABOK and you're actually checking to see which ones it has listed, make a notation in, if it's all correct, make a notation in the first column that's not being used to the right that says that you confirmed it against the BABOK. Because Jim pulled it from Watermark, and we believe Watermark is mostly right. But as we've seen, sometimes they get, oh, what's your word, Bob?
Goofy.
Goofy. They get goofy. We want to be sure that what we have in Jim's work, which is fantastic work, but we want to be sure it's not goofy according to the BABOK.
And also, if you need to understand how it works, just understand that if you're looking at anything that's yellowed out, let's say there's a crossword puzzle on the left, and you'll see things over to the right that are in yellow.
Can you share your screen, Jim?
Then, sure. I'll see if I can open it. If there's time, I want to respect your time. Let me see if I can open it. Hang on just a moment.
We can record for just a few more minutes and get it in here.
Sure.
Guys, we've got 35 people in this. I so much appreciate your attending, and your participation has been valuable and gold. Conversation is what makes us so much better.
So Thea, I have a Excel created for the tasks. So should I be uploading it on the, like sending it to you or directly upload it?
If you'll send it to Cliff.
Yeah, I can do that. Yes.
Cliff is the gatekeeper. I'm the presenter. He does the knowledge and the marketing. He's awesome for us.
Yeah, I love
That's also why I'm quiet, because I'm doing stuff in the background while you guys are doing this. So
he's moving databases of millions and millions of bytes of stuff and doing it accurately. Okay.
Another thing is that I don't seem to be getting the emails to sign up for the next sessions. Where should I go to get them?
They're on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Okay. Go to LinkedIn under Thea or?
No. If you're in our LinkedIn group,
go join our
get a
LinkedIn
notification
group
through LinkedIn.
And
I don't
we
send
also
out
have
emails.
Sorry.
There's a Facebook group too.
And
Okay,
it's on IIBA events also. Just you don't have to be a member. You can just go to IIBA events and log in from there.
Okay, Jim, tell us about what we're seeing here.
Okay, so in any given spreadsheet, you can see like this is a mapping of stakeholders to tasks. And so over here, you shouldn't touch this area over to the right. And over here in the yellow. So don't touch those areas. This is the exercise area over here. This is the scoring area over in the right, this red section. And the answers are actually disguised in this section. You can see ones and zeros, X's and O's in here. So what you're trying to do is this, you'll blank this out here where these X's are. And if you put in a correct answer, then it shows up over here in the scoring section and tells you whether you got it right or not. So let's say I'm here and I want to say, is it true that any stakeholder is the answer? Then I could put, no, it's not true. There's an O. What? I got it wrong. Or I can put an X and I got it right because I can see over here, I got a good score for that one. So basically what you're doing is you're blanking out this exercise section here, and then you're trying to put X's and O's in it. So what I should add to this is like instructions for each one. Easier to understand are the are things like the, let's see here, hold on. Just going to find a crossword puzzle. Okay, so here's an easy one. You can see my crossword puzzle has already been filled in. And this is from the watermark exercise. So you blank out everything here that's in green right now, and you start going through the crossword puzzle. This is the answer key over here, so don't mess with it. These are the actual answers over here. So as you get the right answers put into the crossword puzzle, they turn green. If there's no answer, it's blank. So if I put in, go to 5, what is it, 5 across, and it says jeopardy of meeting or not meeting a requirement, and we put in R, oh, I got a green, ISKS, and now you can see I got it right, it's all green. So just don't go type in the answer key, this yellow area over here.
Jim, would you consider just hiding those columns of areas that shouldn't be typed in?
Yeah, that's a good idea, Thea. I can do that, sure.
I think they can also be locked, but about the answer
right.
key, can you, I'm a little confused because I don't see any answers in there. I don't see like any letters. Like,
Yes, they're disguised because the letters are yellow and the background's yellow.
Okay.
So it's in there.
So if you change the font color,
but
you can see
Yeah.
the answers.
it's your
Yes.
option.
Got it. Okay. Thanks for that explanation.
Sure.
So Jim, if you can create instructions in cell A1 and use Alt Enter to create new rows, that way
Sure.
you can leave your labels at the bottom and put the instructions at the top of A1 on every page.
I will do that. I will do that.
We have now given you more work to do on something that
Awesome.
took you an amount of time that is quite impressive, but it will be very valuable to us, and we will use it as well.
And I give Julia credit on here because she helped with like giving us, and this is her original inputs and outputs map. So I included her notes in here, and then I made kind of my own exercise over here based on that. So I'll go through this with you all sometime, but I will definitely put some notes in here.
Okay.
This is kind of how I'm learning all of the knowledge areas and task names. So, and
I
their
think it's
inputs and
fantastic.
outputs. So you can see all the inputs and outputs here. And that's your exercise. You have to go through this and fill all of this in by memory.
Okay.
Yeah, with some clues, but I'll put instructions.
That's a hell of a spreadsheet. Wow.
It is incredible. And may I suggest that you create a worksheet at the very, very beginning to explain who gets credit for each of the different things, so that you can give Julia credit, but you also get credit. Everyone learns differently, and we all have different experiences in our background. So if you create something that might help other people, sharing it is a great way to help the community. As you know, as a chapter, we don't charge for our study group. We don't charge for anything. The IIBA has a small membership fee. Beyond that, we are just here to help people. And honestly, we haven't even taken the money from the IIBA that they have for us. But we're here to help people. And if you want to help us help people, continue to attend these, contribute what you have created. Just participating in the conversation is beneficial for our organization to help other people. Also, these meetings are being recorded, as you know. I have several companies that have reached out to me that tell me they've got study groups that meet on a weekly basis and they go over our classes. You know, so not only is it helping us right now, this is helping people all over the world every day. And we don't track it. We don't care. We're not trying to get credit. We're just trying to help people, you know. So continue to help. Jim, I congratulate you and I compliment you. That is fantastic. Renu, if you have something you would like to share with us, go for it. We will continue to work to help people. We will meet you here next week. We're going to work on chapter 7 one more time. Then we'll move on to chapter 8. Reminder, read chapter 7, but also every time you see a technique in chapter 7 mentioned, go to chapter 10 and read about that technique, because we're going to get deeper and deeper into this technique is used because, and they're going to expect you to know what it says about the technique in chapter 10. So don't skip on that. There's lots of, I think there's 50 techniques. I wrote the chapter, I should remember that, but it's been a little while. There's a lot of techniques and they all talk about when it's good to use it, what the benefits are, what the limitations are. So you need to know that as we continue to go deeper into the BABOK.
And then Thea, quick question.
Sure.
Once we get through the knowledge areas, will we also be doing perspectives in this study group? And how important are those to understand a chapter? I think it's chapter 11, perspectives.
We probably will go over that. We spent a lot of time the last time we went through on techniques, and I think it was 12 meetings to go through all the techniques.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Oh,
So
Oh, my.
yeah,
yeah.
we try to go into them deeply enough where you really have an understanding, even if you've never used it.
The other thing is that the different certs use different sections of the BABOK. So I don't think the CBAP relies on chapter 11 much, but the earlier certs do.
Oh, okay. That's
Right.
good to know.
Right.
I do have a question real quick about ECBA versus CBAP. So I know ECBA is like entry level, but
Right.
and that's the one that I want to start with to get. But this class will be, I know it's geared towards CBAP, but this will help me for ECBA as well.
Oh yeah, it's the same questions. It's just fewer, easier.
Oh, okay. So there's easier and fewer questions on the ECBA, and then on
I believe
CBAP
so.
you're a little bit more challenged. Okay.
If
And
you
there
go
are
to-
also a couple of different chapters you have to study.
Mhm.
So check out the certification guides on the IIBA site, and they'll tell you what BABOK chapters to concentrate on for each exam.
It will also tell you the percentage of questions that are from each chapter for your exam. So check that out. Ao, you have a question? Okay.
So I had a question.
Yes.
So as somebody asked about ECBA, and this is more towards CBAP. I am going to sit for CCBA.
Okay.
So the questions will be like moderate and lesser, but how? So yeah.
I would suggest that you go to the IIBA's website and check it out there.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
yeah. As Bob said, I'm going to do that. Yeah.
I can tell you what I know, but I haven't looked at that lately.
Okay.
And they will tell you the truth, in detail.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. I will do that tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the ECBA, the CCBA, and the CBAP are different levels of the same certification.
And I will also say that there are sections of the BABOK I am not studying. I came to this already being 900 years old. So I went straight to the CBAP and haven't paid attention to some of the more basic material. And it's good to know that I should do that.
Anyone else have a question? Okay, guys, have a wonderful week. Fantabulous week. See you here next week. We'll do this again and we'll do it better. Invite other people and
question.
other people that can help. Oh, yes.
Are we going to get back to the point where we're doing some lecture parts again, where we're doing some actual study of materials?
You mean where we're actually studying parts of the BABOK instead of going through the test questions?
Yes, like doing some presentations and stuff like that.
Well, we will be doing presentations through the techniques chapter and some of the other chapters, but not necessarily between here and there. Let's see, we're doing chapter 7 next week, chapter 8, chapter 9. Those will probably all be test questions, practice test questions. Chapter 10 is all techniques, and we'll be going, actually, I'm going to ask those of you who use the techniques to do presentations on those if you are willing to. What happened last time is Bob and I kind of traded off. And I think people really got tired of us telling you what we thought about this technique, but from the BABOK, but really how to use it in real world too. We need others to step up and say, I can take, a 10-minute presentation on this technique that I use all the time and give you some real world experience on it. Beyond that, I can't tell you that we're going to be doing study directly out of, or presentations directly out of the BABOK.
I will say also, I did blog posts and spoke from them directly from my website for 20 of the techniques. So those are there already, and the recordings exist too. So the next cycle through, I'm going to do that for different ones. We did have a few volunteers that chipped in their own presentations. Those were terrific. I highly encourage you to go ahead and talk and make up your own materials and share with the group. I'd love to hear we all do what other people think about this stuff. It's a good way to do public speaking and just help yourself study.
Also, it doesn't look bad on your resume to say, I gave a presentation at the IIBA, study group. And if you're not comfortable with giving presentations, we're a safe space. Nobody, we don't work with you. We don't live with you. We won't see you outside of this. If you do something here and you're embarrassed about it, nobody else is going to know that you live with, nobody else at work is going to know about it. So try, briefly.
And every single,
except for Jim and Sherry.
Right.
I do. So get on in there.
Yeah. Take a risk. Agile has this thing, fail fast. If you get in here and you find out, oh, that's not the way I want to do it, at least next time I don't want to do it the way I did it last time. You can always make yourself better, but you can't make yourself better if you don't try. So once again, see y'all next week. We'll try to keep it to only an hour next week, but I've enjoyed our conversation.
I'm really, really sorry. I just want to get this question off,
Sure.
and then we will sign off. So, I just want to find out where you are as a group. So this is my first class, right? So
Okay.
and I'm jumping into chapter 7, right? So
Right.
so I'm where were you last week? Where were you in the beginning of the year? And then just so I can get a grasp of where you guys are as a group. I know we are in chapter 7, but what did you guys do before?
We've worked our way up to chapter 7 about 2 weeks every chapter, except chapter 6, we did 3 weeks. So you can just work backwards from there.
Okay, so about
4 weeks. Okay.
Okay, so about 1 chapter every 2 weeks.
About 1 chapter every 2 weeks. And we took November and December off because I was tired, guys. 60,
Yeah.
We're 65 classes in. We were 50 then. And and then I got married and stuff like that.
Congratulations.
Stuff like that.
So I needed a real life break for a little while, but that's where we were. You can just go back in the recordings and see what we had. But if you have not read the beginning parts of the BABOK, I do encourage you to begin at the very first page and read the front and back of every single page.
Yay, I'll do that. Okay.
It's important. Make
Okay.
notes, make flashcards, do whatever you have to do. Remember, I'm going to say some stuff. The BABOK is not written in a linear process of how to run a project. It is not in order. It uses terms that you might not be familiar with, and it may use terms that you are familiar with in different ways than you do in real life. Sometimes it has processes or statements that may not line up with what you do in real life, but the BABOK was written for an international audience. It was written, 10 years ago now? And it was written basically thinking about a business analyst who works in software development. So what you are going to find is it may not line up exactly with your current experience. We're trying to make it better. We're hoping to get to do the rewrite. I've been told I'm going to get to be a managing author for the next version. So we have all kinds of ideas about how we can make it better. So as you read, just realize it's not always going to ring true to your real life, but you've got to know what the BABOK says to be able to pass the certification test. I have more questions. What can I answer? Any more questions?
So I was gonna ask, I know everybody's trying to get up. So for those of us who are looking for work, who do we contact?
You can contact me. I've got 3 or 4 or 6 or 7 recruiters calling me every single day. Let's have a phone conversation. Contact me through LinkedIn. I want to know what you're looking for, where you want to work, all that stuff. And if I don't have contacts at that company, I bet you Cliff does. And then we can see how to help you best.
Sounds good. I think we're already connected on LinkedIn, so I'll just reach out to you.
Just reach out to me. We can have a phone conversation. Any other questions? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
All
Bob?
right.
Okay, guys. See you next week.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Glad to have you back, Thea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good night, everybody.